As someone who switches phones extremely regularly, whether I'm reviewing things or just utilizing the different phones that I have had the fortune of coming into possession of, I also switch smartwatches quite regularly, even though I don't necessarily want to do that. You see, most of my smartwatches run Wear OS, and there has been, since the inception of Wear OS, one critical, fatal flaw in these devices. It is that if you want to switch phones, keep the same watch, put it on a different phone, you must fully reset that watch in order to accomplish this. Now, of course, over the last several months or so, different brands have began to implement full backup systems. For instance, the Galaxy watches will back up most everything. So when you pair it to that new phone, it's going to restore and be back to where you were relatively quickly. However, there are some other watches on the market. For instance, I have been daily driving the Amazfit Bip 3, even though it is by all accounts an inferior watch to some of the other watches I have, like the latest watch from Mobvoi or the Pixel watch or the Galaxy watches. It is inferior to all of those. However, in one key area, it's fantastic. When I switch phones, if I took my SIM out of my Z Fold 4 and put it into my Pixel 7 Pro, all I would have to do to move my watch over is sign into the Zepp app, and it just connects and carries over as if nothing has happened. It is absolutely fantastic. And because of that, I am putting up with what I have said in my review is slightly less accurate health tracking, wildly less accurate sleep tracking, but it's worth it to me because I can quickly switch phones. This, however, may be about to come to an end because implemented in Wear OS 4.0, as we have seen in the Galaxy Watch One UI 5 beta, is the beginnings of the ability to transfer your watch to another phone without having to reset it. Now, before we go any further, I do want to point out that I tried to test this out yesterday. I tried to install this beta on my Galaxy Watch 5 Pro and then transfer that watch from my S23 Ultra to my Z Fold 4, and it did not work for me. I would get so far into the process and it would basically give me some sort of an error and it would disconnect and I would have to try and start over and it just would never work. Now, this is a beta, so this may not be fully functional yet, but it is in fact coming. If you want to check it out yourself and give it a shot, what you have to do is go into the Samsung Members app on the device that your watch is currently paired to. Look at the top of that Members app and look for a banner that talks about that beta. Click on that, click the join button, go through this survey that asks you. You should be able to then check for a software update on your watch and begin downloading. It'll take a little bit of time for it to fully download and install. And afterwards, my watch did act fairly laggy for a few minutes. I kind of rebooted it and left it sitting for like 30 or 40 minutes, which is probably longer than I needed to. When I was done with that kind of settling period, everything was running nice and smooth again. Like I said, the feature, though, is not, at least in my experience, functional just yet. But that being said, it will be functional at some point in the near future. And what's really great about this is that it is not just a Galaxy Watch feature. This is a Wear OS 4 feature. So presumably, the Pixel Watch should be getting this. If Mobvoi can get their software updates straightened out, they should be getting this as well. And it should make the lives of people like me a whole heck of a lot easier and better, and I may be able to get rid of my Amazfit watch and go back to a watch that has more accurate tracking and so forth. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that the more expensive Amazfit watches are far better, but this was the cheap one that I bought, and this is where I am. I would love to be able to go back to some of my more premium Wear OS watches and be able to switch phones without having to reset my watch, and it seems as though that dream that we've all had for so many years may finally be approaching on the horizon. Guys, if you want to see more content just like this, subscribe before you go. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.